And let's begin with a big update coming in on the protest that's been going on for 20 plus days by the RG Kar doctors. They've finally announced that they're ending their dharna that they've been undertaking outside the Kolkata police headquarters, demanding that the commissioner step down. That dharna comes to an end, but the doctors maintain that their overall protest continues. Now, this update has come in after a team of representatives on behalf of the protesting doctors were allowed inside the Kolkata police headquarters and met with the police commissioner Vineet Goyal, sought his resignation. They submitted a memorandum as to why they want it as well, which is why now that they've put forth their demand, they've announced that they will end their dharna outside the Kolkata police headquarters. Let's bring in Suryagni Roy for more details. So on this, Suryagni, big update because these protesting doctors have been out there for the last many days demanding the resignation of the Kolkata police commissioner. They're maintaining that their fight will continue, but that symbolic dharna outside the Kolkata police headquarters will come to an end. And that's also because of the Kolkata police reaching out to them.
Well, you know, yesterday the junior doctors and the interns of RG Kar, along with other doctors of various colleges, you know, they had a program. It was called Lal Bazar Abhijan. Their demands were pretty simple. That the police commissioner, that is Vineet Goyal, he should, take the onus of what happened at RG Kar on the intervening night of 14th and 15th, and he should step down. And also because they felt that the investigation by the Kolkata police was not a really fair one. So on these demands, we saw hundreds of students walking till Lal Bazar yesterday. But let's not forget that Lal Bazar is the police headquarters of Kolkata police. The entire area is cordoned off with 163, which is basically the prior version of section 144. No mass gathering is basically allowed. You cannot protest or a mass conglomeration cannot happen in front of that particular place or some area around it.
Okay.
What the doctors wanted was that they should be allowed a little further, and then a delegation will reach Lal Bazar CP's office, Kolkata Police's commissioner's office, and give them their demands, and they'll disperse. But yesterday what we saw, that they were stopped somewhere midway, almost a kilometer or something.
Which is essentially why today they've ended that stir, because today they were allowed to do what Suryagni is mentioning, their demand of going and meeting with the Kolkata Police Commissioner. Perhaps all of this drama could have been avoided if that was allowed in the first place. Thanks, Suryagni, for those details. More breaking news coming in. Now, big update from the Supreme Court as the central government has moved to the top court seeking adequate arrangements for CISF personnel who've been deployed at the RG Kar hospital for security. Remember, the top court had said that CISF personnel will now secure the RG Kar hospital after vandalism that had taken place on August 14. The centre has filed a contempt case now against West Bengal government for not complying with the order of the Supreme Court. Why is that? According to the central government, no provision has been made, no arrangements have been made for the female CISF personnel who've been deployed at the hospital. There are allegedly issues of accommodation that they're facing. The centres allege that the lady contingent is not getting proper accommodation or any place for keeping the security gadgets and transportation. So this is the big charge leveled by the centre directly in the Supreme Court. Kanu Sardas joining us with more details on this. Kanu, take us through what really the centre has alleged. They've actually accused the West Bengal government of contempt, of not following the Supreme Court's order.
Yes, Akshita, the centre has, approached the Supreme Court filing a contempt application before the top court, saying that the CISF personnel who were asked by the top court to protect the RG Kar hospital was not given proper accommodation, proper place to keep their security gadgets, and also for the transportation. The application also states that the CISF personnel is living at a place which is far away from the RG Kar hospital, and it takes 1 hour to reach the CISF staff to the RG Kar hospital. They have alleged that, from the 92 CISF personnel which are deployed there, 54 are women personnel, and they are facing huge issues as far as the accommodation and the basic facilities needed for the personnel to do the security jobs on daily basis. So what they have said, that they have approached, the centre has alleged that CISF on its own has approached the local police over there and has written to the Home Minister of the state as well. but no action has been taken so far, and that is why the center has, appealed to the Supreme Court to take note of the matter, because since the matter is suo motu pending before the top court, the center has, asked the Supreme Court to intervene so that those CISF personnel who have been, shifted from one base to another base to protect the RG Kar hospital will find some facilities. Also, the center in its application has highlighted that they have also requested for the enhancement of the CCTV infrastructure, which is also not taken care of by the West Bengal government. The center is completely blaming West Bengal government for not, listening to the basic demands of the CISF and saying that this is not a good conduct and it should not happen from a state where this law and order is such a messy situation. All right,
Kanu, thanks very much for getting us those details. We'll see what really plays out in the top court, whether the West Bengal government will be able to put forth their counter also to the central government's charge that no proper accommodation has been given to women CISF personnel who are deployed at the RG Kar hospital. Now, let's focus on the big story that's coming from Bengal. In the Assembly, in a special session, an anti-rape bill was passed unanimously because all parties came together to support it. What does this bill say? Now, important to highlight that it's only in some rape cases that there will be the death penalty. Much like the central law, which talks of rarest of rare cases, in this particular case, the death penalty is only if the victim is killed by the accused or found to be in a vegetative state, in which case the extreme punishment of death penalty will be handed out, will be meted out. In other cases, for all rapists, irrespective of the nature or seriousness of the crime, if we really do look at that way, considering rape is rape, whether it's a gang rape or leaves the victim dead or unconscious, should it really matter is a larger question. But life sentence without parole for rapists is what the bill also states. 3-year jail for anyone who discloses the victim's identity. And that's an important one because even in the Abhaya rape and murder case, we saw countless incidents of the victim's identity being disclosed and questions being asked of the Bengal government themselves as to how people managed to get the picture of the victim's body. Now, fast-track courts will be set up to try rape cases, to expedite rape cases. Now, this is largely similar to what the central law is like. But also, what the Mamata government is aiming to do here is she's saying there will be death penalty for extreme rape cases. But like I said, if you truly want the act, if you truly want a law to be a deterrent, it should be quite clear. Rape is rape, irrespective of how grave the crime really is.
Amid massive outrage and continuing protest over the young Kolkata doctor's rape and murder, Bengal Assembly unanimously passed anti-rape bill brought in by the Mamata Banerjee government. Called Aparajita Woman and Child Bill, provides for the death penalty for rape and sexual offences of convict. The bill also proposed 3-year jail for disclosing victims' identity and vows to establish fast-track courts for rape cases. Calling it historic, Chief Minister Mamata said the bill was a tribute to the 31-year-old trainee doctor who was raped and murdered at RG Kar hospital.
যে মেয়েটি নির্যাতিত হয়েছে তার জন্য আমি শোক জ্ঞাপন করছি। যে সমাজে মেয়েরা ভালো থাকে না সে সমাজ কখনো ভালো থাকতে পারে না। প্রধানমন্ত্রী আপনি দেশের লজ্জা।
While tabling the bill, Mamata Banerjee also listed rapes in BJP states, asking Saffron Party to first serve justice to rape victims in states ruled by it.
আজ থেকে 4 বছর আগে 2020-এ এই সেপ্টেম্বর মাসেই হাতরাসের ঘটনা, যেখানে একটি দলিত মেয়েকে গণধর্ষণ করা হয়, বিচার তো পায়নি, সেও বাঁচেনি। বিভিন্ন রাজ্যে চলছে একের পর এক ঘটনা, এটা গ্লোরিফাই করার নয়।
While the BJP backed the bill in assembly, it described it a move to distract mass focus and sought its implementation on the ground.
নতুন কিছু নয়, আন্দোলন থামাও, সরকার বাঁচাও। This is the actual motto, aim and object of the state government.
That the bill as settled in the assembly be passed. As many other of the tribunal, please say aye.
With this bill, Bengal has become the first state to bring in amendments to central laws dealing with offences of rape, gang rape and sexual crimes. With Indrajit Kundu in Kolkata, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's bring in Suryagni Roy to get his details of really what we witnessed in the Bengal Assembly. Suryagni, you had a rare moment where the BJP, the Trinamool Congress came together, were on the same page and both agreed that the need of the hour is this kind of a bill. But what we did see, however, was the war of words where Mamata Banerjee went ahead and raked up Hathras, raked up Unnao, said that the Prime Minister should resign, the Home Minister should resign for not ensuring safety of women.
Well, Akshita, you have to understand that, at the end of the day, these are political parties taking on each other. Nevertheless, one good thing that we did see, what we did witness, something pretty historic, that both the, BJP and the Trinamool Congress, which is basically at loggerheads on almost all issues, they unanimously supported this particular bill. And that is something very, very important that we had, witnessed at the assembly today. Secondly, the war of words were about how the blame game had shifted, and it was not restricted to one particular incident. Numerous cases of numerous incidents were, cited by the BJP. Shubhendu Adhikari, he cited various, cases where women were allegedly raped, murdered in the state of West Bengal in the past 13 years. On the retaliatory mode, you saw Mamata Banerjee taking on the BJP and, questioning how the BJP functions or how the central government has worked to ensure that justice is served in cases like Unnao or Hathras, Manipur. And in that context, Mamata Banerjee even said that, the Prime Minister couldn't ensure safety and security to women in the country. So on those lines, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister should even resign. So amidst all of this, taking on each other that we usually see, the BJP, the Trinamool Congress, one good thing that we did witness was that this historic bill, it was passed unanimously, no voting was done. That was something very, very important that we witnessed today. Akshita.
Now, of course, the bill will have to be approved by the governor. The bill will have to be approved by even the president, because this is a criminal law that the state is attempting to bring. We'll see whether that actually happens. Thanks, Suryagni, for joining us with those details. Now, this is not unprecedented for a state to actually come up with its own criminal law. We've seen it in two other states, in Andhra Pradesh and in Maharashtra, which is right now on hold, and we'll tell you why. Let me focus first on Andhra Pradesh, where the Disha Act came in force in 2020 after the incident of the Disha rape case. Now, in this particular act, the death penalty has been confirmed for any case of rape or gang rape and murder of victims. So very similar to what Bengal has brought in, which is called as the Aparajita Bill. Now, life imprisonment is also prescribed under this act for sexual offences against minors, against children. So child rape also being covered in this act. Special courts have been set up in every district for crimes against women and children. A judgment will be delivered within 21 days. So essentially the idea is to ensure that, you don't see this case dragging on forever and ever. It's expedited immediately, and courts are available to hear these cases. An appeal period for, in fact, the accused has been reduced from 6 months to 3 months, again to ensure speedy justice. The reception for the Disha Act in Andhra Pradesh has always been positive, and they've always said that it's actually proved to be a deterrent on ground and helped in ensuring justice for rape victims. Let's tell you about Maharashtra now. Maharashtra, for years now, has been looking to bring the Shakti Bill into effect. Now, it's been passed in the Assembly, but it faces a hurdle. I'll tell you why. Let me first explain to you what the bill says. Capital punishment for heinous crimes. And heinous crimes not just means rape, but also this bill covers the ambit of acid attacks. Stricter punishment in the case of acid attacks for the accused. Stringent provisions for offences against minors as well. Again, this is not just rape. It involves any form of harassment, sexual assault, and any of that. There's a mandated probe timeline of 30 days to ensure that also there's pressure on the cops to wrap up the investigation at the soonest. This was a bill that was passed in the Maharashtra Assembly when the Maha Vikas Aghadi was in power. But since then, It's pending with the president. The bill is yet to get the nod from the president. Even today, you saw protests being led by Supriya Sule on this, seeking passage of this bill. So on Maharashtra, it's on hold right now, especially with, in fact, the new criminal laws that have come into effect. There are questions about whether Maharashtra will actually see the Shakti bill coming into effect any time now. So those are the other states that have brought in this kind of a reform. But is a state criminal law actually effective? There have been a lot of questions about whether this is just posturing by Mamata Banerjee. Can it actually make a difference considering you have a central criminal law? How does a state crime law actually come in here? So essentially, if an accused is convicted in this kind of a case, they can go ahead and challenge the constitutionality of the verdict, of the law in the state with the Supreme Court. So that's one legal option they have. The accused can approach higher courts for review as well. And of course, the Supreme Court option is still very much available. So that's the only hurdle here. But otherwise, because these are in district courts and you see more courts being set up, the judiciary also actively following up, it does create an impact on ground. The only question is about the definition of the crime. So while you've had the BJP backing this bill in the assembly, Amit Malviya of the BJP has raised questions of the government and certain provisions of this bill. Amit Malviya has said, and I quote, Mamata Banerjee can't hide her criminal intent behind the new anti-rape law passed in the West Bengal Assembly, other than being a desperate attempt to divert from the raging civil society protest. A closer look at the fine print of the new anti-rape law reveals that it seeks to limit reporting on judicial proceedings in rape cases. So this is what Amit Malviya has alleged. If you look at the fine print, essentially, of the bill that's been brought and passed in the West Bengal Assembly, there is a mention saying that there will be a crackdown on any unrestricted printing and publication of news of court proceedings, saying that it's being done to ensure that the victim's identity is protected. So they say that unapproved publishings or printings of court proceedings could lead to a crackdown. So it's over this that the BJP is actually questioning the TMC. Piyush Mishra is joining us with more details on this. Piyush, the BJP on one hand is backing this bill and on the other questioning terms and conditions that have been mentioned.
Well, absolutely, Akshita. We are now seeing as to how BJP is raising one point that this Ratri Sati is going to be the draconian move which the government is intending to come up with, where it is going to banish the women from workplaces. It is going to restrain them from doing night shifts and will give more power to TMC tax. This is what BJP's Amit Malviya is now saying. He is also saying that it's high time that the women of West Bengal must come out and reclaim their nightlife. This is what Amit Malviya is saying. And that's the another stand which the BJP is taking. At one side, we have seen how the Bharatiya Janata Party is supporting the bill which was introduced by the West Bengal government. But on the other side, we are now seeing that on one clause, Amit Malviya is coming out and saying that it's a draconian move. We'll have to see how it's further going to escalate because BJP has been protesting on the streets of Kolkata, demanding justice for the RG Kar rape and murder victim. And after which we are now seeing how the government is trying to somewhere, douse down the fire by bringing this legislation, bringing this bill. In West Bengal, we have seen BJP supporting this, but here in National Capital, Amit Malviya, who is also BJP in charge, is coming out and saying that this Ratri Sati is going to be a draconian move which is going to restrict the women from workplaces.
The other point, Piyush, which we were referring to, is the fact that Amit Malviya is also saying that the bill actually goes ahead and impinges on the freedom of the media, referring to one of the clauses that says that any unrestricted publishings on court proceedings will not be allowed, unapproved publishings will not be allowed because it will reveal the victim's identity.
Well, absolutely, and that's what Amit Malviya is stressing on. He's saying that this is going to put a lot of restrictions on women of West Bengal because of this clause of Ratri Sati, one official from the government will have to accompany with the women while they are traveling back to their houses, or while they are traveling to their respective offices in cab.
So that's of course one other controversy that's playing out. But the question that will be asked then is, why did the BJP go ahead and give their support to the bill if they find many of these clauses to be objectionable? We will continue tracking all the reactions. Thanks, Piyush, for these details. Now, even as we saw the anti-rape bill being tabled in the Bengal Assembly being passed, the TMC, the Trinamool Congress, found itself in the midst of another controversy over a comment that was made by an MLA, Lovely Moitra, where she actually questioned the protesting doctors and, believe it or not, referred to them as butchers. Now, this is the TMC MLA's charge. She says that patients have been left high and dry. They've been left in the lurch. Nobody is helping them because all the doctors are out there protesting. And now, because of her comment and the outrage, she's been reprimanded by the Trinamool Congress top brass. She's been asked to refrain from making such statements. But believe it or not, when we had actually approached the TMC MLA earlier, before she was reprimanded by the party, and asked her about the comment where she calls these doctors as butchers, she backed it, saying locals are suffering because doctors are out on the streets and that patients are not getting treated despite being in a critical condition. Now, we also spoke to some protesting doctors who completely denied this charge, saying that no patient is being turned away. We're ensuring all of them get the necessary medical treatment, and our protests are in no way harming the people of Bengal.
যারা গ্রাম বাংলা থেকে আসে, যারা প্রান্তিক এলাকা থেকে আসে, যারা চিকিৎসা করার ক্ষমতা নেই প্রাইভেট হসপিটালে গিয়ে, আজকে তারা মৃত্যুর সঙ্গে পাঞ্জা লড়ছে, তাদের কোনো চিকিৎসা হচ্ছে না। এরা মানবিক, এরা মানুষ, কসাইতে পরিণত হচ্ছে দিনের পর দিন ডাক্তাররা।
किसी भी हॉस्पिटल में ट्रीटमेंट बंद नहीं हुआ है। इमरजेंसी, ट्रॉमा, इवन जनरल वार्ड भी खुला हुआ है। हमारे सारे सीनियर डॉक्टर्स, कंप्लीट सर्जरी, जितने भी एपी प्रोफेसर्स, आरएमओ हैं, सारे काम कर रहे हैं। एक जगह में भी पेशेंट केयर हैम्पर नहीं हुआ है। किसी भी पेशेंट को अगर लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग इमरजेंसी है, उन्हें साथ साथ में अटेंड किया जा रहा है। हम लोग कसाई नहीं हुए हैं, लेकिन अगर हम लोग ऐसे कंडीशन में हम लोग कैसे काम कर सकते हैं? एक डॉक्टर का वर्क प्लेस में, जो हमारा सेकंड होम होता है, वहाँ पे उसका रेप हुआ है, मर्डर हुआ है। हम लोग अपने राइट के लिए, अपनी सेफ्टी के लिए, अब ऐसा टाइम आ गया है कि हम लोग और बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकते।
Now let's get you the clarification that came in from the TMC MLA. When she was asked about her comment, she didn't, pull back, refrain from going ahead and defending what she said.
ডাক্তারদেরকে মানুষ ভগবানের চোখে দেখে। এনাদের আন্দোলনকে প্রথম দিন থেকে আমাদের মাননীয় মুখ্যমন্ত্রী সমর্থন করেছেন। এই আন্দোলনকে এমন একটা জায়গায় এরা নিয়ে যাচ্ছে যে মানুষ না যেন ভুল করেই ভগবানের জায়গায় অন্য কিছু বলে ওদেরকে। কারণ গরিব প্রান্তিক জায়গা থেকে যারা চিকিৎসা করতে আসে, ডাক্তারদেরকে ভগবান মনে করে সরকারি হাসপাতালে আসে, কারণ তারা আর্থিকভাবে পিছিয়ে পড়া মানুষ, তাদের পক্ষে সম্ভব হয় না। আর আন্দোলন যদি করতে হয়, বিচার যদি চাইতে হয়, তাহলে লালবাজার অভিযান নয়, সিপি পদত্যাগ নয়, সিবিআই এর কাছে যায়।